All right. The Department of Justice estimates that American police officers kill 25 to 30 dogs per day. That's a lot. That's a lot. I don't know why. I'm assuming that they're killing them with guns. I can't imagine that they're going house to house strangling dogs, or it's pretty easy for a cop to do that. In fact, I thought about loading up videos to show you guys, but really the best thing to do is to just go with the stats, because it's heartbreaking how often this actually happens. And it's happened to friends of mine. Cute little dog named Oreo got shot by the cops who had the wrong house, and they came in, and in New Orleans especially, they don't think twice. They just shoot the dog. It doesn't matter. If you look like you don't have, if you can't afford a lawyer, there's no reason to be afraid of you. The cops have total control. In a nation where dogs are often considered beloved family members, a disturbing trend has emerged that shocks the conscience and challenges our perceptions of law enforcement. The Department of Justice estimates that American police officers kill a staggering 25 to 30 dogs a day, amounting to an annual canine body count which would make even the most hardened animal control officer blanch. It's a grim statistics equating to roughly 10,000 family pets gunned down yearly. It paints a pretty trigger-happy picture of officers who are all ready to unleash a lethal force on man's best friend. While the boys in blue are quick to cry officer safety, one can't help but to wonder how the Fluffy the Chihuahua or Buddy the arthritic Labrador pose such an imminent threat to these armed-to-the-teeth peacekeepers. In Detroit, police killed 25 dogs in 2015 and 21 just in the first half of 2016. Two detectives in Detroit had killed at least 100 dogs between them over the course of their careers. Metro Atlanta police kill an average of 50 dogs per year. In Buffalo, New York, what's up to all my Buffalo people? They killed 92 dogs over a 3-year period. Yep, that sounds right. Buffalo PD are twisted and corrupt and tied in with the mafia. One officer in Buffalo was responsible for killing 26 dogs just by himself. In Los Angeles, dogs were shot more than a quarter of police shooting incidents between 2010 and 2016. Research suggests that half of all police firearm discharges involve shooting a dog. That one seems vaguely important. Research suggests that half of all police firearm discharges involve shooting a dog. In Rochester, New York, 42 dogs were shot by the police between 2015 and 2022, with 22 of these dogs killed. So there you see, there's a pattern unraveling. It's not pretty. The irony, of course, is palpable. In a country where police dogs are revered as four-legged officers, complete with badges and bulletproof vests, civilian canines are treated with all the respect of a paper target at a shooting range. It seems that the thin blue line has redrawn to separate not just cops from civilians, but also canine units from family pets. So maybe you guys heard of this. In Fayetteville, North Carolina, in June 2024, a police officer was filmed punching his canine dog in the face at least 3 times, dragging the dog by its collar. The department later claimed that the officer punched the dog 7 times after it bit him. In Riverside County, California, a sheriff's deputy was caught on a live stream abusing his canine partner, holding the dog off the ground by its collar and harness. In Salisbury, North Carolina, in 2021, a police officer was filmed slamming his canine dog into his cruiser. Then he later resigned. PETA reports that they regularly see instances of canine abuse by police officers across the country, with most common being officers leaving canines unattended in hot cars. So they're killing their own partners a lot of the time by keeping them in the car. Experts state that such abusive treatment breaks the bond of trust between the handler and dog, potentially ruining the dog for police work. And it's not surprising that somebody who's as maladjusted as most cops are. As we all know, 40% of cops beat their wives. And I understand that that study came from the 90s, but that was even done by survey. So God only knows. Police and the people who go out for police jobs typically have more of a violent streak, are more likely to have mental problems. We've gone all over this data before on this show, but just know that police are the last people that you want to have at your house in an emergency. Animal behaviorists and trainers condemn all the abusive practices of police canine work as cruel and ineffective and likely to cause both physical and psychological harm to the dogs. I also always never liked bomb sniffing dogs. Why would you sniff your own bombs? Humans made them. Go sniff your own bombs. If a human made them, go make humans deal with them. Leave animals who have nothing to do with it out of the situation. In a lot of cases, abusive officers who got caught abusing their dog got reassigned away from their canine units. Some of them faced disciplinary action, but of course, this is rare. So critics argue that this puppycide epidemic is a systematic of a larger issue, the increasing militarization of the police force and a shoot first, ask questions later mentality. After all, if an officer's first instinct is to put down Rover for the crime of just wagging his tail too aggressively, what hope do the rest of us really have? And that makes a good question, what about people? We're starting to realize that we also have about the same recourse as a family pet when it comes to not being shot by the police. Let's look at the data about it too. Fatal police shootings in the U.S. appear to be increasing each year. In 2023, there were about 1,163 fatal police shootings. We know these people, they're not trying to de-escalate the situation. They're looking for a reason to shoot people. Black Americans are disproportionately affected. The rate of fatal police shootings among Black Americans is much higher than any other ethnicity. 6.2 fatal shootings per million population per year between 2015 and August 2024. You can disenfranchise a whole race of people, minorities that you can spot the difference by the color of their skin or some other kind of marker. And then when they live in socioeconomic conditions where their material conditions aren't being met, and they're disproportionately committing crimes and living in a life of poverty, and you send police down there to arrest them over petty charges and keep them hooked into a for-profit prison system or a prison labor system or even a municipal ticket debt cycle. That's the name of the game. And then you cry foul when you got to be nervous. I mean, this is going to be one of the hardest things to break, is to convince people that it's not because there's something racially wrong with these people. The disproportionate amount of violence that they represent is because of their material conditions, the fact that they don't have access to the things that they need to be the upstanding citizens that you want them to be. And that goes for all poor people in America, not just Black folks. Black folks have been systemically targeted for their race and put in a impoverished situation, but then other people are just poor by the will of capitalism itself, and anybody can get swept under that rug, any color. As of August 6, 2024, police had shot 14 unarmed people to death. Many shootings occur at response low-level offenses or mental health calls. For example, the Patrick Warren Sr. was fatally shot by an officer responding to a mental health call in 2021. People who are just having a bad day. The prescription is hot lead right to the face. We don't have any other ways to deal with mental health issues or meltdowns or crises. Experts note that it's actually unusual for officers to be involved in any of the shootings, making multiple shootings by the same officer particularly concerning. And here's what they found, guys. They found that a lot of the police who are shooting people and dogs and doing other things that are illegal or against the code of conduct in the police, guess what? Those people continue to have issues over and over and over, and they get disciplined and they get shuffled around, and then they lose their job, and then they go to a different police department. They keep coming back, and they keep getting second chances and third chances and fourth chances before pretty soon they've killed a whole pile of dogs and probably raped some poor lady. Police, they're not good. Criminals and police are cut from the same cloth. They have the same behavior, the same mannerism, they're in the same tax bracket. So meanwhile, police departments across the nation continue to shrug off these incidents. Oh yeah, they're unfortunate, but they're necessary collateral damage in the war on, well, whatever we're waging war on this week. Training programs to teach officers how to interact with dogs without resorting to lethal force are apparently less of a priority than acquiring the latest military-grade weaponry to oppress their local citizens, their friends, neighbors, colleagues, and people in their church congregation. As for the grieving families left to bury their furry friends, they're often met with a bureaucratic shrug and, if they're lucky, a half-hearted "sorry about your dog" from the department. And legal recourse, good luck. In the eyes of the law, Fido was just property, and his life was worth as much as the couch that he loved to nap on.